Still, I always tell my wife that we all three did a PhD together. My name is Amir Jahanbakhsh, and I am a research fellow and program manager at the Research Center for Carbon Solutions at Heriot-Watt University. In IDRIC, I have two roles. I work as a reservoir engineer in IDRIC to look into below the surface of the Earth in order to explore the opportunities and challenges of using the subsurface resources for energy transition purposes. I'm also a committee member in the IDRIC Early Career Research Academy, where we aim to help early career researchers to develop their skills and career so they could be the frontier fighters in this battle. A reservoir engineer is basically a combination of several different engineering disciplines, where a reservoir engineer needs to combine them in order to understand processes happening underground. Processes in underground resources are quite mysterious because we don't see them. And it is really important to use different techniques to understand the behavior of subsurface resources, whether we want to use them for energy storage and energy transition, or we want to use them for carbon storage. Although I was very good at math and science, but I always enjoy literature and poetry, and I found it quite helpful in terms of disconnecting from the world and connecting to a mysterious world. Even if poetry or literacy did not help me directly to find or solve some mysterious problem in subsurface flow, but indirectly it has been bringing hope and courage and motivation to me. I've got a great question from a student, and the question is, what different ways are there to capture carbon? Well, actually, there are two main ways of mitigating carbon emissions. One is trying to capture CO2 from the emission source point, which are mainly industrial source point, like an oil refinery or a cement factory. And the other way is direct capture of CO2 from the atmosphere, or basically removing CO2 from the atmosphere, because there are some residual CO2 from our previous activities, and there will be some CO2 left in the atmosphere, even though we try to capture CO2 at the source points. When I started my PhD at Heriot-Watt University, my son was 5 years old. Although my wife and myself had experience living abroad, this was the first time for him, and he didn't know any English, basically. But it didn't stop us to do this move. It didn't stop me doing my PhD. So we work together, we support each other, and still I always tell my wife that we all three did a PhD together. In the fight against climate crisis, I believe diversity is an integral part of the solution itself. So we need to work together. We need to be supportive. Otherwise, the scale of the problem is large and we may not be able to achieve what we need to achieve.